So the definition is the inner function can access outer function's variable even though outer function has been executed. Or there's another definition which I like, that function remembers the environment in which it was defined. So just remember these two statements. Let's jump to the code and then you'll be able to figure out what's this definition actually mean. As I said, I'm interested in the second part because that defines the closure in a very straightforward way, that the function remembers the environment in which it was defined. So now let's write a function called as my profile and declare a simple variable, let's say name. Now now let's define another function inside this function my profile. Let's call it as print my name. Inside this function we'll just print the name. So now if you see, my profile is the outer function, whereas print my name is an inner function. The thing which you should remember is that name actually belongs to my profile and not print my name. So let's connect to our first definition, which was inner function can access outer functions variable. That means print my name can access name, which is actually a variable outer function. Or the second part is the function print my name remembers the environment. So this time the environment is my profile. Okay, let's see how does it remember. Let's call my profile method. When I call my profile method, it will return me the whole function. Correct? Let's return the whole function. So it will return the whole function, right? Let's assign this function to a variable called as greet. So now greet actually holds this whole function. Okay, so you can execute this because you have a function definition here. You have to actually go ahead and execute the function. Okay, so once you execute the function, hello Tony should be printed. Let's see. You see hello Tony is printed. But let's go through this code via debugging. So I'll just put a breakpoint here and then another breakpoint here. Okay, now let's refresh the page. So now when you call greet, okay, it will actually come inside this function because this was the inner function which was returned on line number 11. So if you see, when you come here and you see the scope, there's a local scope, there's a global scope, but apart from that, there's another scope called as closure. And if you see here, right, it actually belongs to my profile. So this is another scope, which is my profile, and we call this scope as closure. So the second definition where I said that this function, it is invoked outside the my profile function, but it still remembers that I was created inside my profile. So that was the second definition. And you see, I can access these variables from my inner function. So that is closure for you. Now the thing is that you can ask, where you will, where, which are the scenarios where you will use closure. So let's write another function. Say print my last name. Okay, this time I'll just say instead of name, I'll print last name, but I have to create this variable. Again, this variable will also belongs to the outer function, which is my profile. This time it would be start. Okay, so this is also an inner function. Now instead of returning one function, what we can do, we can actually return both the function as an object. So let's say I return print my name as well as print my last name. Okay, now here this will actually return you an object. So let's call it as profile. And now using this object, you can access both the functions like this way: print my last name and say print my name. Okay. Now When you call this both these functions now, you should see the output accordingly. Here, if you see, when I'm inside print my last name, I have the closure where I can access both the properties. Again, the scope is my profile. When you come here again, inside the second function, print my name, you still have my profile as your scope and you can access both the properties. You see, messages are printed accordingly. But the interesting thing which you see is now, what if you try to access name and last name outside my profile? Let's try to do that. Say you write last name. When you refresh this, when you come here, you'll actually get an error. You see, it says that your last name is not defined. So because last name was actually part of my profile function and you cannot access it outside the function. If you want to access it outside the function, you have to use some inner functions. So this actually acting like a private variable now. These ones are acting like a private variables now. And if you have to access these private variables, you have to create these inner functions which can access it. So these inner functions are actually acting as a wrapper over it. So this is a design pattern in JavaScript. Actually, you are returning only the part which you want to return and you are hiding the part which you don't want to show. So basically, these functions are say public methods and these variables are private variables. These kind of design pattern in JavaScript is called as revealing module pattern. I hope you liked this video. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching.